What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. I gotta say, right before I record this video, I ate an ice cream sandwich. I had some sour cream donuts with a side of vanilla ice cream, so I'm pumped. I'm ready to talk about this news that, as you can tell by the title, we have some descriptions on Legacy Deluxe class Windblade, which is the Cyberverse version of her character, and animated Bumblebee. Somebody got in early copies of those, and we're going to start with Windblade here, and I'm going to read to you guys what this person's description says about Windblade. Then I will give you guys my thoughts on this description, as I always do. So let's get down to it. Starts by saying here, alright, now that I've spent some time with Windblade, I can say she's probably not as impressive as Bumblebee, but I still like her. She's likely going to be a pretty polarizing figure due to her jet mode, transformation, and backpack. But articulation-wise, she's good, she has a pretty accurate robot mode, and she's fun to mess with. And now he goes on to talk about the robot mode first. It says here, she's pretty accurate to the Cyberverse look with some extra detailing and more traditional head sculpt. Beyond the head, her proportions match the show, so she's got a pretty thin upper body and bulkier legs. I think they look good. Her wings are articulated, and so are the propellers, so you can orient them how you wish. Both her elbow and knee joints have roughly 90 degrees of bend, but she does have a wrist swivel. The biggest drawback to her robot mode is her backpack. Basically, the entire front of the jet is on her back, though it does have a neat way of shortening so it's not a long backpack, just a thick one. And then he goes into the jet mode here. This is where I expect most people to have their problems. If you're expecting it to look like the one in the show, you'll be disappointed. He says, the jet is actually pretty bulky, especially in the front. The nose doesn't seem very long because it's not until after the cockpit that the front of the jet gets noticeably more thin. Her legs make up the back of the jet, and the fronts are visible on top. So the blue spots on her knees and the gray shin guards are on top of the back of the jet. The thing people would take most issue with is that her arms and hands are pretty visible from both the side and bottom of the jet. They basically just hang out there on the sides. The hands lock in via 5mm ports that they grab onto on the legs. They aren't that noticeable unless you're looking at the bottom, but if you're looking at the bottom of the jet, you'll just see her torso and arms there like she's standing up with her hands in her pockets. Okay. She does have flip-out landing gear up front, but the back just has these little skids/stands that are made from folding the back of her legs up during transformation. And then he goes to talk about the transformation. She actually has a very fun transformation that I find myself enjoying going back and forth with. Her legs have a creative way of folding up, and her backpack/front of the jet kind of folds up into itself by splitting down the middle. Some people may not like it because it's a little simple, but that's what I like about it. It's fun and quick. And then he talks about the accessories a little bit. He says here, yeah, all she has are the sword and the removable fan thing from her head. The fan just slots in the back of her head. It stays in securely but isn't too difficult to get out. I still haven't quite figured out a way to put the fan in her hands, but she does have a little slot in each hand, which I presume is for the fan. And then he talks about the size of the figure. She stands head-to-head with Legacy Prowl, so if Slipstream is indeed a retool, she's going to be pretty undersized compared to the Earthrise or Siege Seeker molds. And then he caps it off with, overall, she's a very fun figure, not revolutionary, and certainly not without her flaws, but she's fun, and that's always what I hope to see. I wasn't excited for her when I jumped on a pre-order because overall I'm not a big Windblade fan, but I'm finding myself messing with her a lot. That was the person's little review there for the figure, and I gotta say, it's pretty much what I expected from a new Windblade figure. It seems like some of the problems that we've gotten in the past with Windblade figures, like the jet mode kibble and, just the backpack management and her overall design and robot mode is the main problems here. So not really too surprising, especially with that backpack and the kibble under the jet mode, which most jet formers always have. There's always robot mode kibble underneath. Even in masterpiece figures like MPM, Starscream, there's still robot junk underneath the jet. So It seems like it's almost impossible for Hasbro or Takara to make Jetformers, whether it's Masterpiece or Mainline, to not have visible kibble right underneath the jet that's really noticeable. So it's not too big of a deal. It's pretty much expected at this point. We've gone, almost 40 years with Jetformers being this way, so I don't really expect it to change anytime soon, unless if, budgets are raised for Jetformers or something, which I don't know. You just never know, but this does sound like a decent Windblade figure, and I probably will get this because I don't have a Windblade in my collection. I've been contemplating the T-31 for a while, even before we knew a new Windblade from her Cyberverse design was coming in Generations. So I don't know, when I see that this figure revealed, I'll make up my mind which version I want. And to be honest with you, I haven't gotten a Windblade yet, because I really am not the biggest Windblade fan. I know there's a ton of Windblade fans out there. They love that she's an original character from recent years. Like, she's only 9 or 10 years old in the Transformers fandom, so that's pretty cool within itself, I'll admit. But I don't know, I've just never really been drawn to her character. There's so many other, regular Transformers and female Transformers that I just care about a whole lot more, but we'll see how this figure turns out. Now, moving on to the Bumblebee description that this person got in. I'm going to read it here and give you guys my thoughts on it. So he starts off by saying, so I just opened Bumblebee and Windblade, and while I haven't gotten to Windblade yet, I could say Bumblebee is fantastic. I'm reading this now, and I should have done Bumblebee first, then Windblade, but whatever. He feels nice, and while pretty much the entire roof/upper torso is made of clear plastic, he doesn't feel fragile at all. He's got fun transformation to figure out, good range of articulation, and a head sculpt that is nice and expressive. My only gripe with B are his accessories. They look good, but they don't have as much of functionality to them as I would like. I've talked a little about how the stinger ports are at an angle so he doesn't look good with just one, and can only really use them in two ways. The first way is by attaching them together and angling the arms, so he's doing this with them. And he shows an example picture, which he did quite a few times in the show, where he would combine both stingers to create this one huge mega blast of sorts. And you could do that on the original Deluxe too, and they were at an angle, the stingers on the original Deluxe, but you could have him holding them separately, because it was like a transformation gimmick within his arms that the stingers were built into. So I'm guessing it worked out better on the original Deluxe, having them as two separate stingers, as opposed to the new one where they're separate accessories to the hand. I don't know, but it may just be like a personal case of this person just not liking the stingers angled like how it was on the original Deluxe, or the whole thing is actually angled and you just can't, fix it. So if that's the case, then yeah, I would agree that does look pretty bad, and it only looks good when it's combined. And then he goes on to say here, the other way is by Evo fusing, or should I say uni-fusing, because the line next year is called Legacy United, the stingers to the boosters. The boosters can be held in Bumblebee's hands, and then the stinger can attach via 3mm ports to the back. This is the only way I've found that allows the stinger to look okay on its own. The issue I have with the boosters is that, as I mentioned, they don't have a 5mm port in the back. They have a 3mm one, meaning that blast effects are not compatible. I've tried to, no avail. Beyond the accessories, though, he's great. Just all around a very, very nice small Deluxe. Also, I'm not sure if this is a Hasbro thing or a Source thing, but weapons may start being wrapped in faction-themed paper rather than the plain white paper used in Evolution boxes. Windblade's sword and fan came wrapped in it. So I just want to start off by that little package update there. I think we've already started to see that a little bit with the Jurassic Park collab figure that just dropped. I think the Velociraptor Transformer, or whatever the dinosaur was, the head was wrapped in the Autobot faction wrapping. Like, there were Autobot logos all over the wrapping paper. So it seems like they're going to be doing that with every mainline release, which is kind of cool, but I really wish they would just go back to the old school way of packaging accessories, so I'm not opening up a bunch of paper, but I don't know, maybe that's just me being nitpicky and missing the older packaging for Transformers, I don't know. But Bumblebee sounds good here. I'm a little skeptical because, this is a modern day deluxe class figure, a modern day small deluxe class figure. So I'm just wondering about the kibble management. I know he touches on it a little bit here, and he says he likes the figure. It really seems like it's been hit or miss with the way Bumblebee designs are handled. You look at the most recent a couple of Bumblebee figures that we've gotten in the Generations line the past few years, both being exclusives, by the way, which is really strange for a character that's supposed to be the main staple of Transformers the past almost 20 years now. This Bumblebee figure, I just hope it turns out good because I do want to get it. It does sound like a really dope idea, having a chugified animated Bumblebee to go in your Generations display. I already have the original deluxe animated Bumblebee, and that goes in my animated display because obviously it's, the stylized look. It's based off of the cartoon. But I've always wanted a version like, why didn't they do Bumblebee in Universe or Generations or, Siege? I would love to see him remolded into his Cybertronian form that we got earlier in the show. I just hope this turns out to be a good figure and the kibble doesn't look ugly and it doesn't look stubby and weird. Yeah, let me know down in the comments below. What do you guys think about these descriptions for animated Deluxe Bumblebee and Cyberverse Deluxe Windblade? We're going to be seeing these figures in like 6 days, so we won't be waiting much longer. So I'm really excited for that, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys in that video, the PulseCon video, and next Friday or Saturday, whenever it is. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye.